Lambda sensors are high-temperature sensors installed in the exhaust pipe to measure the concentration of oxygen in exhaust gases. The Lambda regulation sensor controls the fuel-air mix ratio and guarantees that the engine runs with optimum mix. The Lambda diagnosis sensor installed after the catalytic converter compares the data of the first sensor. Identical data will mean that the catalytic converter is not operating correctly. Remember that you must wait until the engine has cooled down, or that the necessary precautions must be taken before handling the sensors, since they reach high temperatures and you might be burnt. It is also important to disconnect the battery so that no current is supplied to the sensor. Next, disconnect the socket of the sensor and unscrew it. A visual inspection will help you identify cracks, broken or deformed sections that can affect the performance of the sensor. Check the sensor and connector. Causes of malfunction might be due to the contamination of the sensor with lead or antifreeze or a mix that is too rich. The sensor can also be damaged if the oil consumption is too high, as a result of contamination with silicon or the accumulation of suspended particles in exhaust gases. Make sure that you're using the correct reference for your vehicle brand and model before installing the Lambda sensor. Likewise, the sensor must not be installed if it has received an impact, since the internal ceramic sensor is very fragile and sensitive to impacts. Grease the sensor thread with special grease before installing it. This will facilitate future disassembly tasks and prevent the sensor from becoming locked into the exhaust pipe due to the extreme operating conditions. First, install the sensor, making sure that the cable is not bent or trapped. Tighten the Lambda sensor with a torque wrench. The 18 metric sensor must be installed with a torque of 35 Nm. Tighten manually. Next, tighten it with the correct wrench. Connect and place the cable, making sure that it's not on the exhaust manifold or other hot component of the engine. Finally, connect the battery again. The OBD device can be used to check the correct operation of a Lambda sensor. This device can be used to monitor almost all components that have an impact on emissions. The use of a Lambda sensor in perfect working order reduces contamination, improves the operation and performance of the engine, and protects the catalytic converter. In addition, the fuel consumption is reduced, since a deteriorated sensor can result in an increased consumption of up to 15%.